And bear with me on my way here. I unfortunately broke my glasses, and for those of you that wear glasses, understand that it's kind of hard to see without them. So please be patient with me. I'd like to introduce two of my mentees, and I'll have them actually introduce themselves at this time, if you would like to.
How y'all doing? My name is Emmanuel Gaynor. It's a pleasure to be here, to be in this presence of all of you, and that's me.
Okay, and then I have Mary Johnson.
Hello everyone, my name is Mary Johnson. I am a serial entrepreneur, owner of Vitamin Candy LLC, and I am excited to be here. This is actually my second time being here in this area, but I'll let Tenora finish and tell you guys more.
Yeah, she's going to speak on networking. So before we get started, I'd like to know just a little bit from the audience. Tell me a little bit about the course that you're in now. What are some of the things that you guys are covering, and what's standing out for you? Anybody want to share? Don't be shy. Nobody? Do we have any entrepreneurs in the house?
Come on, you guys can talk.
You're an entrepreneur?
You talk with me, you can talk with Tenora.
Please talk to me, because I want to really understand what your needs are, what your questions are. How can my experience be beneficial to you on your journey? Take advantage of this time. Please dig deep, ask whatever you like. But I really would like to, I always tell my mentees that I didn't get 25 years experience easy. So being an entrepreneur, it's a road. It's a road that, fewer people traveled when I started 25 years ago, but now, it's exploding. Ever since COVID, it's taken a turn, which is wonderful. So I like to take my personal experience. If you see, it's not on there, but it'll say, let my experience be your guide. So the young lady that raised her hand, do you mind sharing what business you have? Is it up and running currently?
Yes, well, actually, I'm a realtor.
Okay.
With Great House Realty.
Okay.
And of course, I've been a realtor for 13 years.
Awesome.
I actually was with Keller Williams, Shabani Realty before I made my switch to Great House Realty. And actually, my broker, I believe she's a teacher here at Lakeland Community College, and she teaches one of the
Awesome. That's awesome. Do we have any other entrepreneurs? Okay, what about aspiring entrepreneurs? Do we have? Good, okay. Do you mind sharing what you're aspiring to do in the entrepreneur field?
I'm looking to start up a indie game development studio somewhere here in Willoughby, or within Willoughby somewhere, maybe online. I haven't really thought of it, but I want to try it. My whole career, my whole passion is into indie games. So
awesome, amazing. Good luck with that. Are you guys familiar with Jumpstart? Anybody in here? You guys are familiar with? Are you? Okay. So Mary has been a participant of Jumpstart, so maybe she can answer some questions to that. But there are some resources out here, and I will provide you with some of organizations that are here to help entrepreneurs. One organization that I'm personally involved in is the United Black Fund of Greater Cleveland. And we give out funding. So right now I think we're going to be giving out a grant we give out many grants like $5,000 to $10,000, but they have a large one coming for $25,000. So just please tap into your resources. Once you take that next step, there are funds out here to help you. Some people get started with a great start. Some people inherit money or inherit companies, or they're able to walk right into it. That's not quite my story. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share a little back history on how I got into entrepreneurship. As a single mother with 3 children, There he is, if we want to catch the IT guy. With 3 children, I was actually in the police academy. I went to correction to Ohio University. I'm a Bobcat, so let me make that correction. A lot of times I may get students that come and they want to go from A to Z. They want to, how did you do this? I'm a multi-serial entrepreneur. I have real estate. I have child care centers. I have nonprofits. I have an LLC and a corporation. But I didn't go from A to Z. That middle is what's really important. Learning how to survive in that middle. I've had 10 programs and 3 of them failed. So I want to talk to you about the realness of entrepreneurship. You're going to have some highs and some lows. And being able to survive that, that's what makes you successful. And not all failures are bad. So 2 of my programs that failed, I lost a lot of money when it didn't proceed and we had to stop the program. But I took that loss. It was priceless. It was a costly learning era, but moving forward, I'm glad I had that experience so that when I got to another was that the sound system? Okay. All right. So back to Steve Harvey and back to what I was sharing with you guys about my start. All of us, we don't all have the same start. Some of us have a great start, and some start behind the finish line. Steve Harvey, as we know, he was homeless, he struggled, but his determination and his perseverance kept him going. And same as myself, as a mom with 3 children, as I was sharing with you guys earlier, I was in the police academy. And I had just finished school, and I just had my youngest child. And I remember the day we had to do a gun training, and the officer said, "Now, are you sure you're ready to move forward? Because if someone's in danger, you're going to have to be able to kill them. You're going to have to be able to use your weapon. You're going to have to be able to protect your partner." And I thought about that. And that was my first time understanding what a pivot is. You guys know what a pivot is? And in entrepreneurship, sometimes we have to make pivots. So this was my first pivot. And I declined. I completed the class, but I declined. And I went into my first job as an entrepreneur. I opened a child care center because now I have 3 kids. I'm a single mom, recently divorced, and I have to provide for my kids. Child care is almost, $200-$300. We have any parents in the audience? Okay, well, be prepared. Child care is very expensive. But I had to pivot into a field that would provide for me and my family. I didn't go to school for that. I had no idea that I would be an entrepreneur. But life has a way of placing us and aligning us into situations that will lead us to success. So with that experience, becoming an entrepreneur, I didn't have much guidance. 25 years ago, mentorship was not as popular and as relevant as it is now. And that's why I stress, let my experience be your guide. I had to learn the hard way. I had to struggle. I had to learn about finances. Now, mind you, I did go to college and I did take some econ courses, statistics, business courses, but I wasn't prepared to be an entrepreneur. So it's so exciting to see that Lakeland is offering coursework for individuals to learn more and to better prepare you all to go out into the entrepreneur field. But I didn't have all of that. So I vowed once I was stable and once I went through all of my hardships and all of my learning experiences. I had to really go back in and learn finances, learn what my accountant knew. So my pivot really placed me in a position to dig deep. So let's talk about some of the in-between things of entrepreneurship. We don't always see, like I said, we don't always see the middle of what that individual may have to endure. A lot of times you may have to give up your paycheck for your staff. For me personally, my home, I had to divide food between my children and my program. It was some days that I had to take cereal and milk from my actual home and provide it for my job as I was building. So we all have a story. We all have a struggle. And I didn't understand the why then, but it made me appreciate each step of my growth process. Now, thank God, I can buy food for my family and other families and, to be able to help them. But it wasn't always that easy. So I want you to understand, for those of you that are going into entrepreneurship, there is a sacrificial price that you have to pay somewhere. Mine was time. I had to work long hours, 12 hours, and I had to have my kids there. Somewhere you have to give up of yourself to make your dreams come true. So mentorship is key in that area, because some things that I went through, you guys may not have to go through if you find the right mentor. A mentor is someone there to guide you, to help you, and to help you navigate where you may not have to take a dip in a pit hole. If they can say, hey, I see this coming, take this route or do this. So mentorship is key for entrepreneurs. And I'm going to move into my PowerPoint and talk a little bit more about mentorship. Do we have any questions right now? Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Everybody's bearing with me without my glasses. Thank you. So we talked about, raise your hand if you are currently, and we only have one person. If you have not started your business, what about a time frame? Do we have any goals set for new business startups here? Or you guys are just kind of feeling your way out through? Okay.
Mine is probably in maybe the next year or two. I haven't really decided on when I'm going to start. I just want to get through my school year first, my degree first. So.
Okay, that's a great point. Have you worked with anyone that's going to be doing something similar or the same thing that you'll be offering?
I am currently supporting someone to get into the mind to see what the process of game development is like. I'm also doing play testing for that. It's just I'm lending some of my own money to help test for it.
Okay, that's great. Anybody else? Yes.
I'm hoping in 5 years, just because I want to get a little bit more experience with what I want to do, because I want to do home renovations. So I kind of want to get more experience in that before I actually start understanding more about it.
So are you actually working in that field now?
Not exactly.
Okay. So I would definitely recommend you connect with someone, or, you get some experience first to see if you even like it, to make sure that's where your passion is, because you may get into it and do a pivot. You never know. Anybody else want to share potential goal dates? Okay. You guys are quiet. I need some interaction.
I'm usually quiet for our class.
You are? Well, that's good. That's good. Okay. So we talked a little bit about who I am. I'll speak a little bit about the Pink and Black Honors right quick. The Pink and Black Honors, that was an event created for entrepreneurs. We were able to honor entrepreneurs throughout the United States. The majority of the entrepreneurs came from the city of Cleveland, and they were able to get recognized for their services, their dedication, and their commitment to the community. And we had one young man, our youngest entrepreneur, I think he may have been in the 6th grade. His name is Joshua Gary, phenomenal young man. Started his own business. So we're never too old or we're never too young to start a business. So the mission in what I do is to help entrepreneurs become sustainable, because 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. So it's again, that's another key reason why you want to have a mentor. So it's important to be educated on what field you're going into, and it's important to have a strategy. And it's also important to have some form of support, whether it be your teacher, whether it be mentor, a family member. You definitely need support when you go into your own business. So these are some quick did you know facts. We talked about 50% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. I love this one. Serial entrepreneurs outperform new entrepreneurs with 98% higher skills. Anybody want to guess why? Have any idea why? So I have like OCD, so I'm always busy. And most entrepreneurs were able to multitask and do several. Our brains, visionaries, we're constantly going and moving, and downloads are coming, so we want to start businesses here and there. And they're successful because they've had the experience of failure. And they're able to take risk. And being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of risk involved. Do we have any risk takers here today? 1 risk taker? Oh my, 2. Okay, we need some more hands. 3, 1 on the fence. Okay. Well, being an entrepreneur is definitely a risk taker. I told you about some of the businesses that I opened that just didn't work. And guess what? If it doesn't work, you can't fall apart. You can't give up and quit. You reset, you evaluate what worked, what didn't work, and you come up with a plan. I tell my mentees all the time, have a plan A, B, C, and sometimes D, because you never know what's down the road. Older founders are more successful too. A 50-year-old founder is nearly twice as likely to succeed than a 30-year-old. And I know we have some young adults in here. So do you guys have any idea why?
Experience?
Experience is definitely one.
I was going to say experience too.
Experience, yes.
More knowledge in my life and everything.
Yes, good.
Was it the financial resources when you get older?
Excellent. You guys are getting all of them perfect. That's correct. All of those are factors. And an older person, I went back to get my master's in my 40s, maybe, my late 40s. But I was focused. I knew the goal, I knew the task. Whereas if I had gone when I just graduated college, I wasn't as focused and determined. So yes, all those are important factors in being successful. 29% of business owners say that their biggest motivation for starting a business is that they're ready to be their own boss. Anybody in here ready to be their own boss? Okay, so that's important. You? Okay, yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. That's a good point. Why do you think you're not quite ready?
I think I need more discipline first.
That's a mature answer, because yeah, that's very good. When you get ready to become your own boss, you'll be ready and you'll soar. Trust and believe, because you'll have that made up in your mind. 17% were unhappy with their corporate careers, 16% want to pursue their passion, and 12% say an opportunity presented itself. That's another pivot. 9% had the inspiration for a new business, and 7% weren't ready to retire or laid off. So, when COVID hit, we talked about that a little bit. It changed a lot of things. It made a lot of us think about, how can I survive if I don't have this job? So it transitioned the perception of entrepreneurship and our capabilities as individuals. Does anybody know anyone personally that did opened a business during COVID, or tapped into a talent that they didn't know they had?
I think a lot of people start opening up boutiques and selling clothes.
Mm-hmm.
People became these chef at home.
Yes. It's like it exploded, didn't it? If you guys are on Instagram or social media, you see all these different, and I'm like, where were they 20 years ago? Fiverr, all these different resources available, and just people presenting their talents and their gifts as entrepreneurs, and they're really making money. And that's part of it. Is we want to be successful. We want to be able to take care and provide for our families. So tap into your gifts, and sometimes you may have gifts that you're not even aware of. Like my sister, she cooks very well. Very well. I can't cook, but she cooks very well. And I said, you could start Sunday dinners and provide. And then she was able to get a number of clients. So being an entrepreneur is not just opening a store or opening a physical building. It could be something that you do, at home on your own, or with it, you can start with your family. My daughter, all of my children have to have a business of some sort. It was a requirement. My oldest son, he went into real estate and rehabbing houses, and I made him go and get his general contracting license. These are things you need to look into now, so that when that time comes, you're prepared. My middle son, he's into food. He works for the Department of Economic Development in Atlanta, but he loves food and spices, so he created a brand of spices. And my daughter, she opened a lip balm company. That wasn't the best thing, but that's what she wanted to do, and I wanted her to experience how to get it licensed, how to promote it, market it, how to get out and network your business. And Mary's going to speak to that, because networking is key for entrepreneurs. Okay, let's see. Just a little motivation. It's never too late to start your business. You can achieve your business goals with the help of mentors and business coaches. It is the mentor's responsibility to create a safe space and trusting space that enables a mentee to stretch and step outside their comfort zone, and to take risks and to show up authentically. Everybody, you may get a mentor, you may find somebody, and sometimes you may not just click. Anybody ever had that experience? You just may not click, and that's okay. But I don't want you to stop there. You have to keep going until you find that person that you connect with and you can receive from and understand, so that your business can grow and you can take advantage of the mentorship. I don't take on all the mentees the clients that reach out to me. We have discussions, and I have to really sit with to make sure I'm going to be a good fit for you, that I'm going to be able to, because I like to give my all. If I'm going to be able to pour into you and to help you to get to where you need to go, if I can't do that, and we may have a personality conflict, and that's okay. It's okay. Everybody's not for you, but please, I encourage you to find that right person that you can receive from and that's willing to pour back into you. And that's a part of aligning with your mentorship. Okay, 87% of mentors and mentees say that their mentoring relationships make them feel empowered and assist them to develop a more prominent sense of confidence in themselves. So a mentor should be doing that. That's our job. We should be we shouldn't just say, here's an assignment. And I'm going to let one of my mentees speak to you because it's a job. You know, I look at it not as a sense of him being my child, but being my responsibility because I take my title as a mentor very important to me. It's very important to me. So I'm going to pour. I'm not just going to say, hey, go read this. So I'm going to have him read this, but we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about different things in his life that may affect him in his business, you know, because life happens. You ever heard that saying, life is happening, life happens? And when life happens, how do you bounce back? I like to share briefly off record. In 2015, that was my worst business year. It was the worst year I had ever seen in business. I had totally given up, laid down, and I had to suffer some severe consequences because my mind, life was happening. I had a brother that was, I don't know how, I think he's probably 8 years younger than me. He was in his 40s. He went to work doing a job that he was not qualified to do. He was in a tree and he fell out and the tree crushed him and killed him. And it kind of just took me all, because it was unexpected. And I'm sharing this with you because I want you to be prepared. When life happens, how do you bounce back? I couldn't bounce back until my mentor stepped in and said, okay, let me pull you back. You have these businesses. You can't just lay down and quit. So I like sharing that story with others because we get divorced. You know, people pass. We lose. People move. You know, life happens. So keep that in mind as you start your journey of entrepreneurship, and why it's important to have a mentor, and why is it important to have a support team. 97% of individuals with a mentor feel they are highly impactful and valuable. So mentors encourage you. They pat you on the back and they say, keep going, even when you have your failures. How do we get back up, and how do we go back to plan A, B, C, or D? These are a few benefits of having a mentor. The biggest benefit of having a mentor is having someone you can ask questions and get advice. I'm not going to read all of those, but you guys can take a look up. And do we have any questions or feedback on the benefits of having a mentor?
I'd like to comment on the next to last one regarding putting you in touch with contacts. I mean, that's incredibly valuable, I think, that your mentor introduce you to people that can, further help you, right?
Absolutely. That's a great one. And that's why I bring mentees or bring others, because I want you to network and to, we can't just carry ourselves. So somebody should be reaching back to help you down the line. We should help each other. So when you guys get to your next levels, reach back and pull somebody else up. We talked about pivots. Has anyone ever had to make a pivot in life? Do you mind sharing about your pivot?
Just recently I got a new job, so I completely changed my area of work, shifted everything.
So how did that make you feel?
Well, I didn't like the job that I left, so it felt very freeing. So.
Good.
So no more fast food?
No.
That's wonderful. In the back, and then we'll get the Professor
A
Gretchen.
few years ago, when I was like 13, I wanted to be a car mechanic before, and I realized that because I went to school online at the time and everything, so I realized I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna work out. So I transitioned to getting a degree in IT instead.
Wow, awesome, awesome. Congratulations. That's great. That's good. Did you have a comment? Did you have a pivot
Oh, I was gonna
comment?
say, well, I don't think I shared with you guys. I'm a law school dropout. Woo! My parents were both in the legal field, so I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I was a college graduate. I worked for about a year, and then I was like, I'll go to law school, because my parents are in it. I'll be great. I only lasted a year, and so my advice there was research before you decide to go to school. I should have really researched what lawyer's all about, what law school's all about, because it wasn't me. And I found me. It took me a little while, but I found finding me meant quitting something that wasn't me, if that makes sense.
And it's from the feedback. It's okay to pivot. It's okay. It opens a new door for you to travel through. So thank you all for sharing. Okay. I know we only have 2 people that said that they were already in businesses. Have you guys ever heard, or do you have prepared a pitch for your business? So I have a prize here if anyone's willing to stand up on this stage, and I'll tell you why, and speak to their business. And even if you don't have a business, you can do a mock business. All right, let's give it up for our volunteer.
I'm getting out because I need to actually explain my reasoning why I want to do games in the first place.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go impromptu because I have no idea where to start. So my whole thing for the past maybe like 10 years or so was I wanted to be a video game developer. So I wanted to do indie games because those are like the best places to go if you don't have to work for a big company like EA or anything like that and make like a bunch of AAA sludge. And I wanted to do either like a 2D platform or a 3D platform. I haven't decided yet. With one of my characters that I've made since like 8 years ago. And the target would be like those who like any people who like 3D platformers back in like the 1990s consoles. And those who wanted something new and exciting from a genre like that's kind of been kind of oversaturated by a lot of these classic-esque style games. And that's all I have got, really.
That was very hard for me to do. I had to go to, I went to a training, and they had us just stand up in front of 500 people and pitch our business. I was so nervous, but half the battle is just walking on the stage. We did a pitch contest, and I gave away $25,000 to participants during the Pink and Black Honors. So you never know when that'll pay off. So I commend you for taking that step to just move forward. And that's what entrepreneurship is. It's just taking that step. You know, you might not have all the words right. You may not have everything in place. It's just taking a step. And that's all I want to encourage you all to take a step into what it is that you want to accomplish. So thank you. Oh, here's your prize too. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if I have the right style. I might have to get you another t-shirt. But thank you. So at this time, I'm going to bring Mary Johnson up. And if Mary, do you mind? Mary has been in a lot of pitch contests, and I hate to put you on the spot. But do you mind just doing, pitches are usually 1 to 3 minutes. And you want to, have you heard of an elevator pitch? Okay, so do you mind sharing do you have your elevator? Yeah, I know you're always prepared. So I'm going to have her just give you a quick sample, and then she's going to come and speak to you all about networking.
I'm gonna sit down across the stage really quickly.
So she's been in several pitch contests with her business.
We're gonna do a whole reenactment.
You could do a whole.
So we can get into it. Can you introduce me really quick so I can do it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Mary Johnson with Vitamin Candy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me. My name is Mary Johnson, and I'm the owner of Vitamin Candy LLC, which consists of 3 components: mental, physical, and spiritual wellness. I specialize in vegan cuisine, and I would love to share with you how I touched so many people over the course of 5 years in changing over into the veganism world. I started my journey back in 2015 when I lost 120 pounds of weight. And I decided that I can help other people do the same. And with that being said, I became a certified personal trainer, group fitness, and then I soon opened up my own gym. And today, I have opened up 2 restaurants and I'm working on a 3rd. My financial capacity to be able to do that was to take my savings that I had already saved from a previous job as a rock mechanics engineer, and I put that all into my business. And now today, I am asking for $10,000 for me to be able to fund a new project, which is a line of seasonings that I created in order to help people enjoy food with a salt-free taste. If you're willing to invest into my company, I would greatly appreciate it. Here's some information provided to you for how you can go into investing. You can follow me at vitamincandy.com, Vitamin Candy on Instagram, or at Vitamin Candy on Facebook. Thank you all so much for your time, and enjoy being here.
Very good. Thank you for being on the spot for your pitch, but I wanted you guys, I think it's important that you all just get a feel. If you've never seen a pitch, how much time do we have?
15 minutes.
Oh my, okay. I wanted you guys to, just get a feel of what it looks like for you to be prepared with your business and what you're offering. So I'm going to have Mary join me and just talk a little bit about the importance of networking.
But thanks again for having me, you guys. That was an impromptu pitch, but to be honest, it's always like that. You're gonna always feel like you're on a spot, and so you have to just go with the fly. You're not gonna remember anything you wrote down. You just have to go on the fly. But to speak to Tenora's point, I kind of fall into that 12% that she spoke about. I became entrepreneur like accidentally. Like I said before, that was an honest statement that I did, get into the industry that I'm in by just losing weight and just kind of just staying in it and going with that. And then I was invited by a relationship I had created at the gym to be able to just kind of do an impromptu test interview to become a trainer, and then the rest was history. But having a mentor is the most important thing, because you don't know, you don't have all the answers. Creating those partnerships is very necessary. I was able to work hand in hand and one-on-one with the trainers that I had learned up under in order to obtain my certifications and become successful. And I honestly believe that everyone that worked at that gym are entrepreneurs now. And it just really broadened my perspective on how many ways that my career could go. And I'm so thankful for that. Getting in those rooms that I probably wouldn't have been in otherwise if I didn't know those individuals. And creating partnerships with Jumpstart, the Cleveland Urban League, the Women Business Group, and obtaining certifications with NSMDC so I can be national and meet people outside of Ohio and be able to obtain those relationships too. So partnerships is very pertinent in entrepreneurship, and like she said, it's going to be some hiccups, and that is the reason why you need to go through those things so that you can grow. And without the hiccups and the hardships, there's no way you can be an entrepreneur. Have thick skin, other than that, You just might as well go and work a job that you went to school for. Or just if you're passionate about entrepreneurship, stick with it because it's got to be your number one priority. And like I said, those partnerships and relationships is just I cannot express to you how much Tenora have been a vessel to me. And being able to take constructive criticism is number one. Because if you're not able to take that, then you're not able to grow and you're not able to teach others that are coming behind you. Thank you.
Well, we're going to take the last 10 minutes to open the floor for questions or if you have anything you would like to add.
Okay, so what questions you guys write down?
Would you say some people are entrepreneurs? Would you say some people are entrepreneurs and don't even know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I was in the 6th grade, I found a bag of reflector belts, and I took them to school and I was selling the belts. So I knew when I look back over my life, I like the feeling of being able to provide a product and receive money. So I think mine started at an early age, but I didn't have anyone to tell me, let's take those skills and cultivate them. So yes, I definitely believe so. Yes.
After like mentorships and networking, what would you say might be the best tool or resource or person that you use to find?
After mentorship and networking, the best tool, then you should really be prepared to walk into your business and just to stay abreast. I constantly go to school. I'm in Cornell now for small business, women in small businesses. So continue to provide yourself with education and resources and certifications. Get as much as we can continue learning throughout our business careers. It was a question in the back, and then, yep, we got a couple over there. Can you grab it?
Before starting your own business, like if you're not ready, how much experience should you go through before you're ready?
So that's a good question. I don't know if, for me, I don't know if there's a set amount of maybe a year. It's just going to have to be a knowing and a commitment level that you're ready to provide for yourself. When you're confident in the service and you're ready to take the highs and the lows, that's when you know you're ready. You're welcome. We had a question over here.
How do you handle the stress associated with risk as an entrepreneur?
A support team. Definitely a support team. And don't lose yourself. You know, like I mentioned earlier, I worked 5-6 days a week, 12 hours a day. But now I don't do that, and I don't encourage that. Take some time for yourself. Do things that you like. Don't give up your whole life, you know. Make that family time. Make that time for your loved ones. So you have to definitely strike a balance. Yes.
Since you mentioned the black and pink and black artists quite a bit, what do you say is the target audience for that for the pink and black hours?
What was unique about the pink and black honors?
Of the target audience.
Of the target audience, what would be unique was that
Yeah.
we didn't just target tech, or that's what most companies target, tech, but we just opened it up to all entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So,
regardless of gender or race or whatnot.
yes.
Okay. Just
Yes, absolutely, yes. Anybody else? I'm glad you guys warmed up and started talking a little bit. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and just to share some nuggets with you guys. I wish you all the best. Be encouraged. Don't give up. Find your support systems. Take all this knowledge in, because one day it will come back to revisit you and you'll say, oh, I remember she said that, or I remember my teacher taught me that, my professor taught me that in class. So good luck to you all. We need you. We need your ideas. We need the spaces that you're creating, especially here in Ohio. We need you to network. We need you to step out and be you. Thank you all for your time.